Hello and welcome. I'm your host Elizibar, and we're going to talk about the books I've read. So, reads of the week and picks for next week. That's what we got going on here. Oh, I'm trying to sound frenetic, but it's totally not my personality. I'm just going to be laid back, nice and slow. I got a pile of books here. I wrote them all down. There's 14 of these things on my list here. So, we're going to start from the bottom of goodness and work our way to the top. So, let me just get everything out of here so we have a nice clean slate. Start piling things up. So, what is the worst thing I read out of these 14 books? Want to guess? You may not even have been able to see it in that big pile it was in. This one, X-Force 65. I don't really like the art that much. I despise the coloring. And this is in the middle of like a soap opera or something because I had no idea what was going on and had no idea why I should care. But the thing that really sealed it as the worst book is the way the blob looked. Let me just right here. Right, look at that. That's not how the blob looks. The leisure suit thing, it didn't work for me at all. That digital gradient coloring, nothing about this really worked. It's just not very good. Let's just throw it off to the side. No, let's leave it here. We'll stack the things I've read up right here. Okay, next one. It's one of those Marvel True Believer books, $1. I didn't even review this thing. I didn't think it was worth it. I think this is a book you're either going to find really funny or not funny at all. And I got some chuckles out of it, and I didn't really like it. Although there was the one bit in here, I did like when the bunny hulked out. Find that. Let me find that page. Yeah, right here. I really liked this sequence. I thought this was a hoot. I don't know why. That's the only thing that really made me laugh in the whole book. Boom! Next, it's another Spider-Man book. This one, Spider-Man Skating on Thin Ice. I'll show you why. Okay, number one, Electro is selling drugs to kids. Like, this doesn't make any sense at all. But you know how they defeat Electro? How he's taken out? Now, you would think, well, clearly it's a Spider-Man book, so Spider-Man is the one who's going to defeat Electro, right? Right? Now, a kid with a hockey stick shoots a puck at him. Electro's done. Boom! Get out of here. The next one, and this one is just under the threshold of okay. This one, Rebel Yell. I didn't do number 2. I didn't do a review of this book. Things like this should have a right to exist. But the creator of this has been deplatformed a couple of times. The art is very kind of 80s indie looking. Like, there's nothing great about the art, but there's nothing bad about the art either. Ultimately, it just kind of felt unnoticeable. It was just like a modern Marvel comic, except from the other side. And also squeaking by just under the threshold of okay. I'll probably buy the next one, though, just to spite the right people, you know? You know how it is? Next one, X-Force, Siren. Man, every time I turn around, all 3 of these X-Force books have had Siren in them. And in all 3, she's miserable. In this one, she spends the whole book basically moping and reminiscing. And, yeah, drinking. I didn't like the art that much, which is why it's down here. If the art was a little better, it might have ranked up above this one. Yeah, we're on to the next book here. X-Force 31. I really like this. The art in here, I mean, it's that 90s, everybody's trying to copy Jim Lee kind of style. You know, this is how the X-Men are supposed to look. But the thing I really liked is this page right here. Oh, hold on. Let's look at the top set of panels first. And that. All right, let's flip it over. And she wakes up, and things are better. Maybe just a little better, not a lot. Again, it's all 3 of these X-Force books were soap operas. This was the best one of the 3, and we are over with this one, over the threshold of okay. This was okay. The art was pretty pleasing. The stuff going on inside was nice. It was well written. It just wasn't my cup of tea because I don't know what's going on. I don't remember X-Force being quite like that. What's next? Well, we are over the threshold of okay. Like, these are books that I would tell you, yeah, you might just be interested in that. You might just want to buy it. Well, here we are. Ruby and the Warriors of Dian, number 2. Dian? I don't know how to pronounce it. Uh, Fun fantasy adventure stuff going on inside. You got crazy magic. I wish the coloring was a little more vibrant. Sometimes the anatomy is a little off. I did a review about this book. Uh, sea monsters, come on. How can you not like it? A villain that kills his own minions. Pretty stereotypical. If it was a little less stereotypical, it might get bumped up a little higher on the list. As it was, this was a fun fantasy book. All right, next one. Batman Legends of the Dark Knight Annual 1991 Duel. My copy has kind of got a curve in the pages. This book was worked on by about 500 million people, but it's completely cracked out because Batman took some drugs given to him by a Tibetan master, and he spends the whole book tripping out, like Talia as a vampire, giant snake monsters, alien invasions, him duding a horn. Like, this book is just insane. If it wasn't insane, it probably wouldn't have ranked this high, because I didn't find what was going on inside of it actually all that compelling. Speaking of, like, Batman, he's on the cover of this book, but he's not actually in the book anywhere. This is a good little Robin story. Got no complaints about it. It's solid art, solid writing. You know, in modern comics, this is like a 9 out of 10. In comics of its era, it's like a 7 out of 10. You know, it's just a solid, really good book. And now, kind of rounding out the it's a good book list. Like, we're well above okay, we're into really good. This True Believer reprint, $1. First appearance of Mysterio. There's lots of great stuff going on in here, from Spider-Man doubting himself. When do you see heroes like doubting themselves in realistic ways? Like, he's a teenager dealing with some heavy stuff here. This makes sense. Like, this is actually how human beings react. Good action. I mean, you can't see what's going on because Mysterio's the master of illusions, right? Probably made it easy to draw. Ultimately, wham! You knew that was coming. You knew the bad guy would have to lose. Great reprint, $1. If you do nothing else after watching this video, but go buy this one book for $1, $1 American, you will have done yourself a world of good. Unless you own the original. But, well, no, you probably want this so you can actually read it. You probably have the original slabbed, and no one has touched it in 50 years. Okay, we're out of just like okay and good stuff. We are solidly into like the top books, and I found it really hard to rate 3 of them. No, 2 of them. So, number 4 for the week. I got this in the mail. Read it, Walmart First Term Part 2. It's a terrific, funny lampooning. Great art. Timothy Lim's art is just gorgeous. You know, in the review I just recorded for the book, I don't even think I commented on how pretty the art is because it's self-evident. Tim Lim's art is gorgeous. Let me just kind of flip this open here to the middle of the book, apparently. Like, there's solid, thick lines. He's got his own unique style. The coloring, I think is that Brett R. Smith coloring it? No, I guess Timothy Lim did all the coloring himself. Whatever the case is, it's a gorgeous book. It's got some chuckles, but it's not for everybody. For me, it's number 4 for the week. Number 3, last issue of Silencer. Nothing happens in this book, and it feels completely unnecessary. Nonetheless, it's compelling, and it's a ton of fun. So what comes in at number 1 and number 2? It's kind of a tie. This is a wonderful wrap-up of the story arc going on in Mr. and Mrs. X, Gambit, King of Thieves, him dealing with basically a revolt. One of the externals comes back. The art, honestly, the artist, the faces are probably the weakest part of this book. A lot of the characters kind of have the same face. If you've been reading this series, there's about 20 characters. Okay, that's an exaggeration. There's about half of the women, maybe more, have this face right here. And it stands out so much that it kind of ruins everything else. The writing is great. Kelly Thompson does a great job writing a compelling couple who actually seem to love each other. It's amazing. The preparations Gambit made, we should have been made privy to him sooner, but it was a wonderful book. Great action once the action kicks in. And the other tie for number 1, like, I can't rank these 2. I love them both about the same. The other one, Justice League Dark number 12. I don't like the cover of this book, but I like literally everything else around it. And there's one page I want to show specifically, and it's Zatanna ripping reality apart. Lord of Chaos indeed. This book is great. They wrap up the plotline with the Lords of Order. They defeat Naboo. If that wasn't obvious, like, come on. Come on. He's the villain here. He's the villain. He has to lose. This is the conclusion of a story arc. So it wraps all that stuff up. It shows the danger of magic. There's meta-narrative to go with the narrative. There's layers of writing. And it's gorgeous. Nothing to dislike. So those are the top two. Everything else, debatable. Let me know what you think down below about any of these books or anything you've read this last week. I'm always interested in expanding my reading horizons. And I thought, hey, last week I just showed you stuff I read. This week, I think I'm going to show you. Let me. Here we go. This right here. These are the things I have written down to check out this week. I don't know which of these are on my pull list. Savage Avengers should be on my pull list, so that should be just waiting for me. And my shop man should get me these True Believer books. So we got this Carnage USA. I didn't read this run of Carnage or Mini or whatever that is. Also never read this one, so these are going to be new stories for me. I hope they're going to be great. They're just True Believer books, so they're $1. Deceased number 3 should also be waiting for me. I got high hopes for this. I'm probably going to pick up this facsimile edition. You might as well, right? I mean, it's $4, but this is like a highly sought after issue. Everybody loves it because first appearance of Deadpool. Why didn't you guys put this out when Deadpool's in theaters? No one knows. And then these are two things I'm going to see if they show up in a store. So Sea of Stars. This just Space Trucker. That just sounds kind of cool and weird and fun. So I am on board. And then Space Bandits number 1. Don't know anything about it, but I was kind of sold on the cover. The color scheme, like this bike with the pink leopard print. Like, all right, fine. I'm going to go for it, Mark Miller. Even though I think you're just going to torture the characters for no reason. All right, you all have a great day. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you're checking out tomorrow on Wednesday on New Comic Book Day. And maybe I'll find something you suggest and run with it and enjoy it. Bye-bye.